My name is Clint Barton, and I'm auditioning as the role of Hawkeye. I might be a human, but with this bow and arrow, I'm a human with a bow and arrow. Great, you got the job, but you're not going to be a main character in the Avengers. You'll appear in all of them, and then when you finally get a spin-off, it won't be about you, but instead about how you get replaced. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, to another handsome review with your handsome host, Jamiel Sorita. I appreciate you guys coming back again and again and again to watch my YouTube videos. Today we're going to talk about the show Hawkeye, which premiered on Disneyplus in November of last year. So one of the first things I want to talk about is the fact that Hawkeye is probably the most realistic superhero in the Avengers, especially the first Avengers movie. You know, you got a god, you have a genius playboy, genius playboy, philanthropist, Iron Man, and then you had a monster, Hulk. And then you had Hawkeye and, what's her name? The Black Widow, who are probably the most realistic heroes, you know? But now we're going to talk about Hawkeye. Because of the fact that, you know, he's trained with the bow and arrow, he really knows how to fight and everything. In real life, he's probably one of the closest things we would ever have to a superhero, which is, you know, I would say military people, because of the fact that they're so trained and they can defend themselves and the people that they care about. So that's the closest we'll get to superheroes. And I want to talk about the show. You know, I also made a joke on it because of the fact that Hawkeye is not really a main character in the Avengers movies. And then when he finally gets his own spotlight with a show, he becomes kind of like a secondary character. At least in this show, Haley Steinfeld is more of a Hawkeye than he is. And it's the story about how she becomes Hawkeye, and I guess he's kind of like retiring it, all with the backdrop of Christmas. So, you know, it was definitely a fun show. One of the best things about it is the character Yelena Belova, who crossed over from the Black Widow movie that we saw last year as well. So that was really great. She stood out. She was very funny and different. And even with the accent, you know, because sometimes that might take people out of a story when they hear someone with a different accent. But she has so much personality that it can cross borders if it has to. You know what I mean? And so I really liked that. And I also liked her chemistry with the lead, Haley, because of the fact that, you know, they went back and forth and it was very funny and awkward at the same time. It was very, I would say, very endearing. It was a better combo than with the two Hawkeyes together. I mean, you know, he does a great job. Jeremy Renner, who plays the original Hawkeye, he has very good intimidating presence. He doesn't really play it for laughs. And then she does, the new Hawkeye does play more for laughs, and it works. So I really like that. And one of my other favorite parts about it, because of the fact that, yes, we're going to spoilers since the show came out last year, is Wilson Fisk. Finally, some more confirmation of another character coming over from the Netflix Marvel universe. But I will say it was a little disappointing because of the fact that he felt kind of like a cartoon and not as much as a real person in the way that they did it in the shows. Because when they were fighting, he just kept kind of taking, you know, nothing happened to him. And that kind of felt kind of fake. Especially because in this show, it felt more like they were going for a more gritty take, something that would work in a Netflix Marvel show, I would say. And But one of the best things about the show was the fact that Wilson wasn't in the huge part of it. Instead, he was teased for like 4 to 5 episodes until we finally met him. So that was really great. I thought that part really worked. And so I think it was like episode 5 where they show a picture of him in the show. And I'm like, what? And, you know, that's one of the best things about the Disneyplus Marvel shows is that they go weekly. So at the end of each episode, we kind of left on a cliffhanger, like, what's going to happen? And then comes the theories, and that's really the fun part about it, you know? So the lead up to him was really great. It's just the reveal, and specifically the fight that he gets at the end of the show wasn't that good. What else? So I really like the mafia aspect of it. That is why I referenced the Marvel Netflix shows, because it felt similar to that, but it was still, I would say, on a little bit of a higher budget than that. Since it was only like 8 episodes, I believe. So it wasn't too bad. You know, like the way it looks, the visuals on the actors, they were all pretty up there, you know? What else? And then we also have our very first deaf character being like a superhero. I believe her name is Echo. And she really did a great job, you know, standing out as kind of like a I would say, an antagonist for the Hawkeyes in the show. She did a really great job with that. She was very intimidating as well. It worked. You know, she actually felt just like they grabbed her from the Marvel shows, the Marvel Netflix show, and they put her into this show, which kind of changed the dynamic, you know, because Hawkeye always kind of felt out of place in the Avenger movies, but here it's really nice to see how his world kind of gets explored in the show. You know, you have all these different characters that exist in the same place as all these other fantastic characters, but they really get to stand out more in a place where you have a superhero who's more grounded. So it works. So it really does work. It was a very fun show. You know, we had a lot of good action. There was even a dog who likes to eat pizza, so that was cool. And at some point we get the classic Hawkeye costume, but in a very funny way. I believe they're called LARPers. They're people who kind of recreate like sword fighting and that kind of stuff in the real world. And so it's funny that they would end up making his suit, his comic accurate suit. So, you know, that's really interesting and cool. What else? I mean, I think that's all I have to say about it. The only other thing was that when I saw the trailer for the original, for before the show came out, there was like this mention of a Captain America musical. I think it was like called Captain America the Musical or something. And then they used a song. They made a song using his famous line that I can do this all day. And, you know, I thought it was kind of funny. And I saw somewhere that they said that his reaction to it kind of makes sense. Because, you know, he was like joking. He was like, oh, this sucks or whatever. But also there were moments of PTSD. Because that was another great part of the show where they were showing the realism of what it takes to be a superhero. And because of the fact that he has to live on the fact that he lost Black Widow and also on his time as basically like an anti-hero when he was Ronin, and he was killing all these people because they weren't killed by the snap, and he was kind of acting his own justice. So, you know, all that kind of stuff does change you and affect you. And so then when the musical plays, I like that. It was kind of like this bad memory that kept hitting him, so it made sense. The only thing is that now this is really spoiler, but there was like a post-credit scene at the end of the show, and all it shows is like extra scenes of the Captain America musical. I think they were trying to go for something that happened with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, which we have Zemo dancing, and then everybody turned that into a meme, and then Disney eventually released like a full clip of him just doing random dances that were cut. I think they call it like the Zemo cut or something. And then they were trying to go for that for the ending of Hawkeye. But a lot of people didn't like the musical, I found out. I think that a lot of people didn't like it. And so then it was just kind of like an annoying footnote, something extra that no one cared about. So that's my review of the show Hawkeye. You know, it's very enjoyable, has some cool action scenes. We got to see more of the Marvel universe, specifically the street universe, New York, actually. So that was really cool. And, you know, you had the Christmas backdrop, and it felt like there were more stakes for him, specifically because he was missing his family the whole time for Christmas. So, you know, they were going for that angle, which worked. It was a fun show. Yelena Belova, MVP. So is Haley, and even Clint Barton, Jeremy Renner. Great actors, great show. I would recommend it. If you haven't seen it and you just got spoiled by me, still watch it. It's a fun time. Thanks for watching, guys. And don't forget, next week, we're going to do a full review on Moon Knight, the first 3 episodes. That's why I was kind of doing like this ramp-up thing. Last week doing Spider-Man, today Hawkeye. And after this, I believe we're caught up. So next will be on Moon Knight, which already has 2 episodes playing right now. So stay tuned for that next week. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe, and in the comment section below, you know, let me know what you think of the show. Or if you have any other recommendation of things for me to check out, let me know, because I will read that and I will check it out. Thanks again for watching, guys. And I will see you next week.